Hey YouTube, Common Collector here, and today we are going to be doing a tier list for the upcoming ban list. Ban list season is upon us, so we do need to start thinking about some of these things. We've got sort of a lot to talk about, so I'd say we just get right on into it. So basically I broke this down into a lot of categories. I have like the main 5 floodgates that we're seeing nowadays. It's crazy that we're seeing so many floodgates nowadays. I think you could consider even stuff like the Harpy's Featherstorm, which is a monster floodgate. I think you can still consider it that. And then like Protos, and then you also have like the Chowfang, which can really hurts Drytron and stuff like that, but I didn't want to include it on this list because I just don't think that it's going to get hit. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about. The rest of the categories, I kind of got some Tri-Brigade, Lyrilisc stuff, and so forth. So, anyways, I think a lot of people are talking about this. The way that I want to do this video is talking mostly in sort of like as a wish list, but also just doing critical thinking to what I think is real. So kind of a mix of like a wish list and like a prediction list. So I think that we could see Imperial Order banned. The one reason why I could see it being untouched is the fact that this card has had an errata, and Konami is pretty proud of their erratas and whatnot. So I think for now we might still see Imperial Order untouched, and then we're gonna see it maybe on the next list if like the outcry is still out there. There's ways to out this, but like you just got to keep in the mindset that even if a card has a way to be outed, that just still doesn't really work. But there's still just so many ways to get around this that I think that Konami still might not touch it this time. I could still see it getting banned for sure, though. Next up is Protos. I could see this card getting banned. It's a pretty bad enabler. It's not as bad as like what we saw with like VFD and like the the other floodgates that we've seen in like the last year or two. But overall, I think Protos could go away. I don't think that anyone would really miss this card. The Nemesis deck was never really a big money maker or anything for the deck, but I could also see this getting a reprint in like Ghost from the Past or something as well. So we might need to see, I could see these two flip-flopped, right? You could see Protos because it's a newer card, and Imperial Order up here as well. This is kind of where I think that the game might go. Scythe, I think that it is Scythe's time to finally go. There's just way too many ways to get it out. We saw a few years ago, like when Dual Overload, the most stupid broken set that came out of the game. When Dual Overload came out, there was a lot of people who were messing around with like Scythe locks, as well as that was when the time came out with Union Carrier, and we were able to get like the lockout with the from the extra deck with the Buster Whelp card. So I think that it's finally time for Scythe to go, and I don't think that a lot of people would really care about this. I think that it would really help out. People are, they're not as like outspokenly against the DPE engine as we were maybe a year ago with the Dragoon engine. So I do see them not needing to hit the DPE engine as hard. So I think that if they still did this, it doesn't directly hit the DPE engine, but it does slow down some of those decks that are trying to use this. Like you have Drytron who's using this. You have the other big offender being Phantom Knights being able to use that. Next up, Mystic Mine. I'm saying Mystic Mine to 1 mainly because this card has been around for a long time, and I don't see them banning it yet. But like they're probably just gonna limit as many of the cards for like the Sky Striker deck as possible. They've got like the Engage to 1, and they got all of this other stuff. They're probably just gonna keep getting all these limited cards. Like I mean, they use a ton of other limited stuff. I don't know if they use Upstart Goblin, probably not anymore, but all kinds of stuff. Then going on into more of like the floodgates that deal with like the Tri-Brigade Lyrilisc, I really don't think that they're going to hit Harpy's Featherstorm. I don't think that it's time yet. And this is a big problem that I have with Konami. I wish that they would make things more generic, right? Like let's say that even Predatoplant Anaconda was a less generic card, and it was just an amazing Predaplant card, and they maybe gave Predaplants a little bit more support to be a more aggressive deck. Awesome. Now we can look at Predatoplant Anaconda, and everyone knows that it's a really good card. And then you have this card like Harpy's Featherstorm, which is kind of generic enough around Winged Beast to be able to utilize this in basically any wing beast centric deck. But I do still think that it's not a totally big deal yet. It is a big deal, and the fact that it wipes you out, it's a lingering effect that is super big. Another card that I think is untouched is going to be the barrier statue, because I think it's finally time. Again, dual overload, kicking our asses again. We have the Simorg bird, bird of sovereignty or whatever. But yeah, this card, ever since it came out and we were able to just tutor out the barrier statue of the Stormwinds, it's just been not fun. And even if you're not going for the Stormwinds thing, it just enables too much. There's because you can search for the Mist Valley Thunderbird or Apex Avion, whichever one you want to go for. Mainly people are just using the Apex Avion because then you get a single negate, and this goes every end phase. Every end phase is just not. And again, this is not me trying to make a wish list. This is, I would say, more leaning towards a prediction list, but I don't know. I guess this is me getting a little bit more wishy, but I just think that card needs to go. Also, I'm not thinking that this is going to be a huge ban list. I think that that Konami's going to probably keep it pretty tight. They don't want to probably, they got their first YCSs and stuff coming out, and we are in a very good, diverse format. There's a few degenerate cards out there. Probably you could say a lot of degenerate cards out there, but every deck has a lot of their own ways to deal with those cards. You have ways to deal with Imperial Order and stuff like that. So I think that they might deal with stuff like the Scythe and maybe again like the Featherstorm. Again, I could still see the Featherstorm going up there. But yeah, if they hit Featherstorm, it needs to be limited, so it's just searchable with Harpies, or they just ban it. I don't really know what limiting doesn't quite do enough, because then it's just really sacky, kind of like Mystic Mine here as well. If you leave it there and it's just a one of sack card, then it's even almost worse because you're not prepared for it, especially if you're in game 3 and all of a sudden they Mystic Mine you. Well, guess what? You probably just lost that match. The Recital Starling, people are talking about this, but I really don't think that the Recital Starling is going to get hit. It is pretty crazy that it's not a hard once per turn, and so this came out probably a little bit before they were really harsh on the hard once per turns, but I still just don't see it getting hit quite yet. I think that they're going to let Lyrilis kind of flourish, and I'm really hoping that they take this opportunity to bring Tri-Brigade down a little bit, because if Dual Overload is the set that was broken and was just not restricted enough, then to me Tri-Brigade is the archetype that is the Dual Overload to the game, because you have Fractal and Revolt, really not even just Fractal, the whole deck, the fact that it's just they have decent effects where they can Foolish or add to hand and stuff like that, and then among them it's just hey, if this card is on the field, if you normal summon it, if you special it out somehow, banish whatever tri-types you want from the graveyard and summon whatever you want. I do wish that the way that they would have gone with Tri-Brigade would have just been to, and I think this is probably a conversation for a whole other video, but I think that what they should have done with Tri-Brigade would have just been to make it so it gets a little bit more locked into the Beast, Warrior, Wing Beast types. Say, you can only summon, you get 3 whole types. You get Beast, Warrior, Wing Beast. You can summon any of those 3 types the whole duel, or the whole turn, and that's it. Then you're locked. I think that would have been totally reasonable, and I don't know why they didn't do that. And then they could have made some of the Link monsters even have better effects. Maybe make something that's more like an access code or an Appaloosa, because they don't really have negation, but the fact that they don't get locked into the tries is what sucks, because then they are able to go into access code and Appaloosa and plays like that. So I think that I could see Fractal possibly getting limited, as well as Revolt. I could see this being a pretty big ban list, because we're seeing Lyrilis being such a big threat nowadays. So I think if they leave the Featherstorm, I'm thinking that we could see a bigger hit to the Tri-Brigade stuff, and we might not even see Revolt on this list. We might see Revolt get not hit. We might end up seeing something like the Simorg and Fractal, and the Harpy's Featherstorm up here somewhere. But for where I'm sitting, I think that both of these cards should be limited, and just the Tri-Brigade engine goes down a little bit. Next, going on into Dragoon. I don't think Dragoon's getting hit. It just got reprinted as a Starlight. It looks super amazing. People are, the Brothers of Legend set was so short printed on the good cards, and like the rest of like the not so good cards, like the Karibo and stuff. You get such an abundance of that stuff that it's just like people are cracking this stuff open. Cards are super cheap. The market prices are like crashing down, but yet you have Forbidden Droplet, the Dragoon, and all that stuff sort of staying up there. So they want to sell that product. They're not going to ban Dragoon, but I do think that it could finally be Anaconda's time to go. I think that a lot of people would like this. It means that we're already seeing so many deck profiles where on deck lists where people are playing 3 copies of each of the the Destiny Fusion and stuff like that, or the Fusion Destiny, to be able to get out the DPE. And so the thing is like they're already playing 3 copies of that. You don't even hardly need the Anaconda anymore, but Anaconda is just the way that they can get that guaranteed DPE at the end of the turn. It turns on the Dragoon as well. I think that it's finally time for it to go. Again, Dual Overload, horrible set. Don't know why Konami did that. As for Tri-Brigade, I think this is something that might be a little out of left field that not a lot of people have been thinking about. But it's been one that's been on my mind for a while, and I think we could see Mu Beta Fafnir for Drytrons getting limited. I don't think that it's really necessary for them to ban it. If you ban it, Drytron, is kind of pretty much dead again. It's kind of it would be in the same boat as it was when Ben 10 got limited, because now you also have the Ava sitting at 1. And so a lot of people are also calling for Ava to be banned. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to stay limited. So I'm going to put it over here in the untouched section. So if you because where my head is at with that is that if you ban the Eva, you're just punishing fairy decks for no reason. Drytron is just a really crazy powerful deck, and it plays fairies, and that is just it's an unfair consequence towards fairy decks. But I think that they're not going to hit the Ben 10, and also Ava is on here as a representation for Ben 10 as well. But yeah, I don't think that they're going to hit the Ava. It adds 2 to your hand, which is pretty crazy, but also the level restriction is pretty heavy on that. I believe you only get level 2s or lower or whatever. So yeah, you can't just search for any fairy that you want. So you basically have to go for the orange and the diviner. This also enables you to play the diviner a little bit more. So Konami's pretty much done with selling Lightning Overdrive, but I think that they still just like Ava for what it does for the diviner for the Drytron deck. And then you have this the Mu Beta, which honestly, if you don't have that second Mu Beta, you are in a lot of trouble. I was at a big tournament a few weeks ago, and I was playing Drytron still, and I used both Mu Betas, and I actually wanted to reach into the extra deck for a third Mu Beta. That's how good that card is. If you're able to get the Gamma back out onto the field, if you're in a bit of a grindier duel, you get back into the Gamma, and then you can do the XZ, overlay 2 for the Mu Beta. Then all of your ritual summoning and stuff is back online. And so really, really, I think if you limit the Mu Beta and keep Drytron just where it's at with that, you also ban the Scythe, so they can't do the Scythe lock, and Drytron is fixed. Drytron is a very great deck. It's maybe almost tier 2. But I don't think that you kill the deck, and I think that that's what the ban list should strive for. They should be striving to make as many tier 1 and tier 2 decks without absolutely massacring any others. Then moving on more into we have Dogmatica, Shadal, Invoked. I don't think that they're going to be hitting the Nadir Servant. We do have the Albaz Structure deck coming out soon. That's another thing that you need to consider. So I think that we've seen most of the support and stuff that you're going to be getting for a lot of these other decks. Also, Sword Soul. Sword Soul is playing the Protoss. I don't think that they're going to hit anything in the Sword Soul engine, but it would still be fine for them to hit the Protoss so that the deck gets tucked back just a little bit. So we're not going to see a hit to the Nadir Servant, but I think that what a lot of people would be limits on Winda and the Magical Meltdown. Now, I know that a lot of people are wanting Winda over here, but hear me out. If you end up banning the Winda, then Shadal's dead. Shadal does nothing. Construct is a good card as far as getting your resources cooking. You can dump something out of the deck. You can add something back when it hits the graveyard, and it can basically battle into any monster and blow it off the field. But Winda is really the only like win condition that the deck has to be able to stall out your opponent so that you can get to like an actual like life point damaging win condition. So really, I don't think that they're going to hit Winda. If they hit Winda, then it's basically like what they've done to any other deck where they just totally like obliterate it. Like probably Spirals is a good example. Like if you take out the Winda, like how they banned like all of their other stuff, then the deck's just dead. So I think that we're going to see Winda getting limited, and we could also see Magical Meltdown getting limited. It's a card that does enable DPE a little bit. It does, you know, it's just an extra searcher for Alistair. So if you end up limiting the Magical Meltdown, it might even make invoked players play stuff like Metaverse to be able to search for the Magical Meltdown. You're going to see people need to be playing Terraforming now just to get to that one copy. So even if you're playing Terraforming, the Magical Meltdown, and then your 3 Alistairs, you have like basically 5 Alistairs in the deck, and the deck is just a lot less powerful because you don't have that that fusion summoning protection. So I think that's where we're going to see Dogmatica, Shaddoll, Invoked, all of that sort of engine stuff going to be sitting. I think that this is the right move for them to make, and it brings down the deck a little bit. You go into that second Winda so often, and most decks can deal with one Winda. And right now in the format, you're playing stuff to get rid of Dragoon, DPE, Winda, all that stuff. So I don't think that keeping one Winda in the format is a big deal, and I think that a lot of people can actually can get on board with that. Rusty Bardiche, this is just sort of to represent the Phantom Knights, and man, I just can't believe that this card is you know, it's limited right now, I believe. I'm gonna go with it's going to stay untouched. I just don't. I think if they hit the Scythe, we're gonna still see Bardiche sitting here. And if Phantom Knights does keep cooking like it is doing right now, then we are gonna see maybe the Bardiche end up getting hit. I know a lot of people are wanting for Zeus to also get hit as well, to at least limited. That way you're not able to go into it again. But I'm just not seeing it getting hit yet. Just because, like, you know, the Megatins did come out a while ago, so it's like this could end up getting limited, but they're either probably just going to limit it or ban it at some point, and I just don't see them limiting it quite yet. It's not like it's not a problem, but it's I don't know, it's kind of a problem. Then getting on into just sort of the cards that we've seen, these next 5 cards are ones that we've seen shuffled around on the ban list. Nessie, it's currently sitting at semi-limited. I don't know if we're going to see it go unlimited quite yet. I just don't know if it's quite the right time, because you might see it end up getting too powerful in certain decks where it can spam it. So I think that we might still see, you know, just for a spicy opinion, I'm going to say that they do unban the Nessie. I think that it would be a cool move. E-Telly to 3, this is another one that would be very spicy, because they do have new support coming out that could work with E-Telly. Also, Virtual World is a very good deck. So that's like Virtual World is probably the thing that's holding this card back. If they bring it to 3 Virtual World, I don't know if they'll play it at 3. I probably wouldn't. I've been playing around with Virtual World quite a bit as of late, and I just don't know if I would even play it at 3. So probably E-Telly to 3 is probably fine. So Mirage Stelio to 3, this does not matter. If you put Mirage Stelio in the game at 3, they're still just probably going to play it at 1. The extra deck for Salamangreat does get kind of tight. If you're playing like the access code package with like all of like the transcode talker and all that stuff, you just don't really have room for like playing multiple Mirage Stelio. I don't think you really need multiples. So yeah, unlimited for that is fine. Maybe we'll see it go semi-limited first, just to sort of see, you know, test the waters, but I think it can just go unlimited. Then we're going to see Skull Crabbat Joker. I think this can probably come unlimited. I believe that, did all of these get shuffled around in the last ban list? I can't quite remember. Red Eyes Darkness Mellow Dragon, this card doesn't matter. I don't think you're going to see Dragon players playing it at more than like 2 copies, so I think that we can see this come back to 3. Again, we might see like these 2 sort of stick around in the semi-limited, but I think that it's just going to go that way. Colossus, I actually just picked up a ultimate rare Colossus, so I would like it to come off the ban list, adding a little bit of value to that, and then I can play it in Thunder Dragons. I could see it coming limited someday, But again, it's a little too floodgatey for them to probably do that quite yet. But Thunder Dragons, I mean, also like Thunder Dragons, they can take advantage of Protoss, I believe, and they do take advantage of the Eschatos. So I mean, I don't know if they hit the Arch Nemesis, like if they ever hit all of that stuff. Maybe I just don't if you have Colossus with Eschatos in the game, it's Thunder Dragon ends up being really, really powerful. I could see this. We got a reprint of the Gearsu in the 2021 Megatins. So honestly, I could end up seeing Harp Horror coming back to 1. Because then Orcus gets a little bit of a buff. If this comes up here, then Rusty Bardiche does probably need to be banned. So I think if we see this happening where Bardiche ends up getting banned again, I'm gonna keep Harp Horror here, and I'm gonna keep Rusty Bardiche here because this would actually be a really cool list. I don't like Orcus. I hate Orcus and everything that it stands for. I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there who do like Orcus, but mainly because that's just the deck that I got like thrashed with when I got back in during the Eternal format. But yeah, really Harp Horror back to 1. That way people can finally stop talking about it. And then Bardiche, ban it again. It's a really crazy card. It dumps advantage. It gets you advantage to like your hand or to the field, and then it can blow stuff up when you XZ summon. It can't be link summoned away, which is very nice, but still, it can be brought back from the graveyard, and then it has arrows pointing to the side, so you can still like. You can still XE summon and like touch those arrows. I don't know. I think that this is maybe what's a little bit more correct. And then Electromite not going to get touched. So I don't know. I think that this is my ban list. I don't know if they'll end up touching all of this stuff. This would be a pretty crazy ban list if they did this. But I think we would also see a fairly balanced format. The only problem that I do see with this is that it would make Sword Soul maybe a little too good. I don't think that Sword Soul totally depends on like the interactions with like the Protoss and stuff. So it's like Protoss is amazing for the deck, but I don't know, like I'm just not seeing, like we could maybe see like a hit to something in the Tenyi engine, but for now, or maybe even like Baxia, I believe is the one that they play it to. So like if they brought like Baxia down to 1 copy, who knows? I could see somewhere on here another hit for maybe Sword Soul, but besides that, I think that this is something that we could end up seeing, and I would be very happy if this was actually the list that we got. But let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Let me know if there's stuff that I just did not even think about. I think I did some cool out of left field stuff like with the Mu Beta. I think that's something that we could actually end up seeing. So let me know down in the description below, or in the comments, sorry, what you guys think about this list, what you think could end up getting hit, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. If you guys enjoyed this content, let me know. And yeah, this is the first time I ever used Tier Maker, so I hope that this all went well. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'm very sick, so I think I'm going to go have some soup, if you guys can't tell by my voice. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see what happens with the ban list. Peace.